Welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Les, how you doing today?
Excellent, Fred. Excellent. And we have a lot of really interesting stories this time. And I'm going to start off with the one because it's the Corvette HyperCar, the ZR1X. And the best thing to say about it is it has 1,250 horsepower, and you can buy it at your local Chevy dealer with a lot of money.
And it comes with a warranty, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
get in line. Start ordering now. We don't know what it's going to cost, but it's going to be a lot.
No idea.
Also, when we're talking about warranties, Ram steps up big to upgrade its warranty for its trucks with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty for its powertrain. That is a direct response to GM. We'll see where it goes from here, right?
It is, and it's a brilliant strategy on Ram's part. They sell a lot of trucks. Trucks cost a lot of money. Crank up the warranty.
Yep.
That makes you buy it.
Yep.
But if you're looking to buy a car battery,
and you might
you better, and you will be, within the next 1 or 2 years, you better buy one now because it may be very difficult to buy one pretty soon, and we'll explain why. There's a big reason.
Yes, we will. And we're also going to look at Jeep. It sets up its Wagoneer Command Operations vehicle. Maybe it's something that you will be seeing, Les Jackson, in a motorcade near you.
I probably will. I see them all the time. But by the way, I may see a BMW coming pretty soon with replacing carbon fiber with flax. Yes, Flax, a cereal product. But it will make sense. We promise you it will make sense.
That's right. That is our talking tech. Could make carbon fiber, lightweight parts and pieces really affordable, and green. So we will talk about that and a whole lot more when we get rolling on this edition of Cruise Control. Les, it's time. Corvette has revealed their HyperCar. Hard to believe, but you're going to be able to buy one of these vehicles at your Chevy dealer, and it is 1,250 horsepower. Can you believe that?
Now, I have a question. We know it's going to happen. This is definite. I imagine the dealers are going to have a hard time getting allotments for these, and certainly the dealers had better pony up a lot of money from their end. But if you're a dealer, you just can't let someone take a test drive.
No, I would say it would be a little bit too much of a risk of doing that.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's going to be a new experience for dealers selling these things.
It will be.
This is the highest end vehicle that GM has ever made. Most likely, even more expensive than things like the Hummer EV and other vehicles. This is probably well over $200,000, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I'm sure. Now it's got 1,250 horsepower, but only 828 pound-feet of torque. But there's a front axle motor that gives you another 145. 0 to 60, 2 seconds.
Yes.
That is tunnel vision territory.
That's right. Yeah, basically what this is imagine if you took a ZR1 and then added the front end of the E-Ray, which is the hybrid model of the Corvette C8, right? Now, so what happens is you start with the LT7 twin turbo V8, 1,064 horsepower at 7,000 RPM, and then you add a front axle motor 186 additional horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque. And the estimated a quarter mile time less is under 9 seconds, which is incredible. I mean,
I
that is
believe
just
that. I believe
incredible.
that. I absolutely believe that. It's got dual 76 millimeter turbochargers. Um, it's got a fantastic exhaust design, similar to me, to like the GT40s.
Yep.
This is a world car. I mean, this is America's Bugatti Veyron and McLaren F1, and you name it. This is something else, and I'm sure we're not going to get a chance to drive it.
No, I think it would probably be dangerous if they put this in the press fleet. But just listen to some of these things. So they didn't just pop in the motor from the E-Ray into the front of the ZR1. They engineered it. They took what they learned from the E-Ray, and then they made it better and made it more responsive. You also have these, what they're calling energy strategies. Endurance, which engaging the Charge Plus button adjusts the battery's energy storage strategy for extended lapping and consistent all-wheel drive output for a full tank of fuel. Then you have qualifying, which is optimal power strategy for the ultimate lap time. And then you have push to pass, which is like an IndyCar type of thing.
Yep.
The max available power on demand. I bet some people are going to wear that button out, don't you think?
They certainly are. If they don't go into a trailing throttle oversteer.
Yes.
This is not something for a casual driver.
No.
You better take some track lessons before you think about buying one of these and driving it. And then let us drive it for you.
That's right. Now, it's not go. You don't want to have go and no woe. So there's Alcon 10-piston front and 6-piston rear calipers, and they're mated to 16.5-inch front and rear rotors. That is the largest diameter rotor ever offered on a Corvette, and I would imagine the largest rotor ever offered on anything from GM, unless, when they used to make Class 8 trucks, maybe they had something bigger. I don't know. But the rotors are carbon ceramic constructed of continuously woven carbon fiber threads. Really, this for mass, the only thing that, like, as you said, the only thing that can come close to this is their modern Ford's modern GTs, where they did that was like a hypercar for them, but that did not have anywhere near this horsepower, right?
Yes, and of course something like the Bugatti Chiron.
Yes, but that's millions, right?
I think it's 2 million now.
Yeah.
Whereas the ZR1X would only cost you probably less than a quarter of that.
Yeah. I wonder, and there's no word on this yet, how many of these are they going to build? What will you have to sign up and say, I'm going to not flip this car, like Ford has made people do with GTs? There's a lot of information still to come.
Yeah.
It will be available in a coupe or a hardtop convertible model. We do know that. And it will be built in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We do know that. That's not a big
absolutely.
Surprise. That's the only place they build them.
Imagine just the people who will be the car enthusiasts who will be going down to Bowling Green this summer just to see the car being made.
Yeah, just to see it being built.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. I've always thought that if I had the money to get a C8 Corvette, and I was of that mindset, I would get the E-Ray, because I like the fact that it has a little bit of a value proposition. It has close to Z06 horsepower,
Hmm.
but it costs less. And I like the idea of all-wheel drive in the car for performance.
Absolutely. And you can't buy a thrill better than that.
No,
It's,
no.
it,
So
well, you could, I guess, but you're talking about this thing is the same acceleration as getting in a modern jet on an aircraft carrier and getting launched on the catapult.
right, exactly. Um,
And I can assure you, it's very uncomfortable.
so
So
still out there, how many of these will they build? So will they
I
build if people want to order hundreds of them? If the total number of order is in the
I
hundreds.
have a feeling that they're probably going to build as many as people want.
Wow. And what will it cost? I think the sticker will be, 250 maybe.
Yeah, I think somewhere between 250 and three. We could be low.
What will they sell for though?
We'll find out.
That's what will be on the sticker, but what will they sell for?
Oh, another 150,
Yeah.
maybe 200, maybe
And
200.
I don't know if the whole allotment, of what the allotment that dealers get, if there is an allotment, who knows? I mean, it just seems it is funny though that the first ZR1s were being delivered this week and they come out with the ZR1X.
Man,
Um, I don't know. Believe me, the ZR1 has plenty of power. Even the Stingray has plenty of power. So, but
well, remember, the one thing that the dealers who get these will do is try to keep them in their showrooms as long as possible, just for the traffic.
just for the
Uh,
traffic.
but if somebody comes in with a big wad of cash, that idea might go away.
Yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. Yes, cash is king. Okay. Well, what do you think? ZR1X. And why didn't they call it Zora? I don't know. Maybe they don't think people remember Zora, or they just didn't want to, they just maybe would feel that they're degrading the ZR1 by having yet a
Um,
completely different name.
or maybe the idea was if it was called the Zora, they would have to be more likely to limit the production.
Oh, that's
Whereas
interesting.
the ZR1X, it's another model.
It's an upgrade. It's a small upgrade for your
Small upgrade.
for your
Yeah.
yeah. There you go. Well, let me tell you, here's another upgrade, and this is not really uh, about performance, other than it's about warranty, and it comes from Ram, and Ram has upped their game when it comes to warranty in a tremendous way. They have really stepped up. It is the best full-size truck and van limited powertrain warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. It is on the powertrain. I guess the rest of the warranty stays the same, but
Right.
that is big. And, there's a reason for this, which you may not have, thought about. But the reason is uh, GM is having terrible problems with their V8 engine. And isn't it interesting that Ram says, hey, we don't have any problem with that. We'll guarantee it for 10 years or 100,000 miles. Meantime, there's lawsuits against GM for problems with the V8s. Remember, we talked about that on Cruise Control not that long ago, where um, there was a problem that they basically would get debris in the engine, and there's all kinds of
Yeah.
talk of what was it, bad machining. Obviously, they should know how to build a V8. They built millions and millions of them, right?
Tens of millions. Now the other thing that Ram realizes is, the truck buyers are are buying expensive things,
Mm-hmm.
and they're financing for long periods, so they want to be sure the warranty is as long as the financing period. On top of that, they're going to just absolutely force Ford and GM to equal that.
Hmm.
Those guys can't afford to just let Ram do it, especially GM with the questionable engines.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think it is a wise move by the folks at Ram. Of course,
Yep.
the old management is back, and people are they're making the moves in Stellantis. They are coming out swinging. I wonder, will this powertrain warranty apply to the Ram Charger, the extended range electric vehicle that has been delayed a number of times, but that to me, powertrain there would to say, okay, we'll back that for 100,000 miles or 10
Yeah.
years, whatever comes first. There's a lot of new technology there. I mean, some of the components like the V6 Pentastar have been around forever, but you're dealing with a vehicle that has no transmission. You're dealing all kinds of things. I wonder if this will be part of that. And I guess the answer is, when will they bring the Ram
Well,
Charger out?
yeah.
Uh,
I think they can't answer that right now.
yeah.
Um, the interesting thing here is it again, as you mentioned earlier, this is like the Hyundai and Kia famous warranties that have been around for over 20 years.
Yeah. And it was
Um,
key, if you remember, Les, because when people were like, "Oh, I don't want a Kia, I don't want a Hyundai," it's going to be problems.
right.
They had a shaky launch. Now look at them, and they'll never go back on that warranty because that's
Well, they won't. Now, in fact, they both do replace engines and transmissions. There are failures, but they replace them.
yeah.
And you would think, well, my gosh, that's a huge cost. Well, yeah, but to the manufacturer, the engine itself, it costs them maybe $1,000.
Hmm.
Same thing for the transmission, and they pay the dealers service,
Rate.
the service time.
Right.
So it's not as huge a warranty exposure as you would think. And and I know two people that have had with the Hyundais who have had new engines, and that makes them very solid customers. When
Well, how long would it take to replace an engine in a Hyundai? Would it take 8 hours? If you were all set
I,
up, you had the tools, you had everything
that's right,
set up.
that's right.
It's not like somebody doing it on the on the streets of
Not
Brooklyn, which
no.
I've seen. And yeah,
Oh yeah.
we throw it on an old tire and then swing the other
No,
one in. And
this is a procedure, and they're trained. I could probably do it um, in a very long day,
uh huh.
but they take their time, I'm sure.
And everything you think about it, the harness is all there. You can snap it all in.
Right.
And they probably dropped the whole front subframe, I would imagine, so they can work on it easily. Uh,
Right.
I don't know, but anyway, that's big news for Ram. Ram is making moves. I think that's
It
going to
is.
make a big
It's
difference for them. I don't know what the cost to Ram is, but apparently it's worth the effort because you can stand on a mountaintop and scream that often to say that you support your vehicles like that, right?
well, also about 10% of the MSRP in a vehicle is warranty exposure.
Okay.
So it is built in uh, to the whole thing.
Right.
So
Yeah. So,
this is great.
all right. Well, let's move over to our next story, and it is about U.S. car battery makers. We're talking about the 12-volt battery that is in every car, even if we're not talking about electric cars or hybrids, but we're talking about the 12-volt battery that you need to replace sometimes every 5 years, let's say, something like that. U.S. battery makers are kind of raising the red flag because they say it's kind of a national emergency because China is not sending over antimony. They have banned the export of antimony, which is a major mineral critical to battery manufacturing. So, what do you think about this list, Jackson?
Well, what I think is it's somebody in the administrations that have thought about this before before doing what they did. And it shows you how easy it is for another country to say, "Oh yeah,
We're just not going to send
well,
you anymore.
how about this?" So yeah, this is a serious issue, and there you can find antimony and cobalt and uranium in Europe, actually in the Ukraine. Of
not
yeah,
not another great place to
that's
go.
a big help.
Yeah.
But it's going to cost more money. There's a limited supply, and you know how this goes. So um, yeah, please somebody open up your eyes and notice these things.
Well, it's
Actually, what I'd love to hear is if the Secret Service vehicles needed batteries and they couldn't get them, which
they would
it
probably
would just be a funny story.
well. So this comes from Steve Christensen, who's the executive director of the U.S.-based Responsible Battery Coalition, which is most likely a lobbying group for the battery industry. He told Reuters, "We consider this a national emergency. There are no quick solutions. We got completely caught off guard collectively as an industry to this, and there's really no way to um, to combat it right away.
Well,
You just
what
can't get
about
these."
what about all of our vehicle manufacturers here? They have just-in-time inventory,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
so it could
interesting. The
be.
only thing I could say is if you could reclaim it from old batteries or something, and I don't know. I don't know enough about the
I
chemistry.
I don't know that chemistry. I'll investigate that. But if you could, even that would take time.
Yeah, well, like anything, like moving production, say, oh, move the parts in production into the U.S.,
Yeah,
you can't do that in 2 months. You can maybe do it in 2 years, but
maybe.
it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. So, but just keep that in mind because you know what happens when things get scarce and batteries. Car batteries are one of the things, if you haven't bought one in a
Uh,
while, I used to think they were 50, 60,
well,
70
yeah.
bucks.
Uh,
Not anymore.
no, it's sticker shock as it is. And I'm thinking of my wife's battery. That's probably about ready to get tired.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, this is an emergency, and we got to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, speaking of emergencies, what about this? This is the Jeep Wagoneer Command Operations vehicle, and it is for VIP protection and transport. So basically, when you see all those black Tahoes and Suburbans when the president's moving around, or even other politicians, this is the market that Wagoneer is trying to play in, and Jeep is trying to play in. I think it's good to give them an alternative, don't you?
Oh, I think so too. They tend to be dominated by GM,
Mm-hmm.
and now I do notice. I have a friend at Secret Service, and the new her new car is a Jeep Cherokee
Mm, okay.
uh, with all kinds of gadgets. Oh,
Right, right.
can't see.
Well,
Uh, yeah,
well, this is an upfittable package. So when they say upfit, that means they can add things like the Wayland lights and a siren, and they basically build a custom wiring harness that you can
right.
easily plug in things like radios and lights and sirens and all kinds of things like that, so you don't have to tear into the vehicle. Performance, it has 420 horsepower from the twin turbo Hurricane engine, 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds, a little bit slower than that ZR1X.
A wee bit. Yeah,
Of course, this is a
yeah.
box that you're trying to push through the air. Um, very key for all the lights and things. 240 amp alternator, quadralift air suspension, best in class towing. Although I don't think you would be towing anything with this. That would be weird. In case you had to get a move quickly, you wouldn't want to be towing
Yeah.
something. But it's actually quite well equipped. Standard leather seating, 3-zone climate control, 8-passenger seating. There's no talk, will these be armored? Because you can do light armor, soft armor. But I think they're just trying to get, once again, I mean, we just talked about Ram, another Stellantis branch, getting in and getting a better warranty. Once again, here comes Jeep trying to do something unique.
Yeah.
It's like they're
This is
saying in
very,
meetings, do something unique, do something
very
to make
smart.
a difference, right?
Yep. Very, very smart people there.
Now, how do they win those contracts, though? Do they have to do it on price? I don't think this
Yeah.
will be inexpensive.
Yeah. The government purchasing agents put out calls for bids, and they give all the specs. And you come in and demonstrate them, of course, and give a price, and usually the lowest bidder wins.
Well, here's the other thing, Les. I don't know what percentage of this vehicle is built with American parts, but if it's more than the Tahoe, the Suburban, that may be a consideration, right?
That's right. They're looking at it, and they're buying hundreds and thousands of these things every year. Hardly 2 or 3 days go by when I don't see, 5 or 6 of these guys with the sirens and lights on going somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
probably golfing. But you see them everywhere around here. It's just,
Lots of
and the
antennas,
police have
lots
to
of
block.
antennas on the roof, right?
Yeah, the police block off the road for a few minutes, and it's just the way of life.
Yeah, way of life there. Yeah. Well, here's this next story is a fun one, and it involves something that you're very familiar with, cobras. Now, there have been many people that have made replicas of cobras, but the original Cobra was made by a company called AC, right? Came from England.
That's right. And AC goes way, it's about the oldest car company in England. AC means auto carrier.
Okay.
Then it became AC, of course. And it was in the 50s that they made the Bristol and the Bristol was Bristol engine. The AC sports car, that was the original thin slab side, very, very close to this picture.
Mm-hmm.
And they were aluminum bodied, very, very light, very nimble.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, a completely unknown guy by the name of Carroll Shelby in the early 60s stuffed an American Ford V8 into one.
Right. What did they have before?
And
A 4-cylinder?
and we all know what happened after that.
Yeah. What did they have in them originally, Les, for power?
The Bristol engine,
Yeah.
that was about 165 horsepower, derived from a BMW.
4 or 6?
Straight 6.
Okay.
And it didn't. I only saw one once. I didn't drive it. A friend owned it, and I rode in it, and it was quick, for by the standards of the day, but it wasn't torquey.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Um,
the announcement here is the AC cars, which still
Still exists.
Bringing to the U.S. is going to start selling these cars in the U.S. It'll be headquartered in West Palm Beach, Florida, and they just did an exhibit exhibit at Eyes on Design at the Ford House in June 15th, so not that long ago. And this is as close as you can get to an original Cobra, right? There's direct lineage from the original
Yes,
builder.
yes, it's an AC direct lineage. This will, of course, be infinitely more sophisticated,
Mm-hmm.
infinitely more expensive too, I'm
Right.
sure.
There
But
have
that's
been
okay.
there have been many court cases where people would just make unlicensed roadsters, right? Unlicensed Cobras, and you had to pay a fee to Shelby, didn't you, to do that? To if you were going to.
You did for the Cobra replica kits,
Mm-hmm.
um, because there was just enough internal changes that Shelby made to put the Ford drivetrain in it.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, I'm sure AC doesn't pay anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Interesting though. Uh, I wonder what the price of these things will be. I wonder what There'll certainly be someone that's always wanted a Cobra would probably certainly look at this and consider it, but it'll
Yeah,
be
and
exciting.
these things have roll-up window, or rather, yes, roll-up windows, which of course regular Cobras didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have windows. um, they have those plastic
Right,
clip-in
right.
windows. When you took, uh, I know this for a fact because I timed it. Our Cobra takes 28 minutes to put the top up.
Oh my. Okay.
I mean, you have to construct it. You have to construct it. I'm sure this has a nice folding top, probably power, probably
Hmm.
has air conditioning,
Yeah.
probably has a radio that you can hear.
I don't
Uh,
know. I don't know what powers this, but I would venture a guess it's a
it's
Coyote engine.
I'm sure it's quite stout,
Yeah.
uh, or as they like to say, adequate. It,
Adequate.
it
Yes.
comes to speed adequately.
That's Rolls Royce. They would say, well, what kind of horsepower numbers do you have? We have
Yeah,
adequate horsepower.
we have adequate horsepower, and I'm sure it has incredible brakes.
Remember what happened here? There was a change in the law where you can build, you can be a small manufacturer of cars like this, and of course the folks that are building the new DeLorean, and they're building some of the old ones out of existing parts they bought on. You can be a small manufacturer and you don't have to have things like airbags and stability
Right,
control and
right.
all that stuff. You can build if you're I forget what the number of cars it is.
I think it's less than 50.
Don't know, don't know.
Yeah.
But that has meant that there's a lot of interesting vehicles out there, for sure. And sometimes it's like taking Broncos, old Broncos, and modernizing them, resto modding them. But
Right.
you don't have to go back and try. You couldn't add airbags or something like that to them. Although probably someone sells them on Amazon, do-it-yourself airbags. So
Yes. Well, this is, as they say, as the AC folks say, this is limited production, every car built to an exacting standard.
okay.
So it remains reserved for an exclusive clientele.
Uh, that means it's bring
Uh,
bring
that
plenty of
means
money.
that means bring plenty of money, and it's probably not you and me.
Hey, let's move on to our talking tech for this hour. Carbon fiber. Of course, everyone seems to love it. It's lightweight, it's
Yep.
strong. Problem is, it's expensive and very expensive, especially if it's, on the lip of your car and you run into something or you get into a crash and you break something. It's very expensive. You and I know someone that had a chin spoiler and he pulled in a little too close to something and it was well over $1,000 to get it
Oh yes. Oh yes.
replaced. But what if you could get the carbon fiber look without the big money? And what if what if it was even made of flaxseed, a very green type material? So
Well, okay.
over at BMW, they say a carbon fiber parts like the roof will soon be replaced with plant fiber. So when the BMW M4 GT4 hits the Nürburgring for the next 24-hour race, it will be race testing flax-based natural fiber composites. And this is supposedly a very green material, but it has the look of carbon fiber. So, it's a Swiss clean tech company called B Comp, and these are lightweight composites from renewable raw materials. Now, we don't know is it the same weight as carbon fiber? How strong is it? We don't know.
It could be lighter.
It could be lighter.
And the plant fiber does have a lot of carbon in it.
By virtue of it being a plant.
Yeah. I mean, think about you burn a plant, you burn a tree, that smoke is carbon.
Well, you and I have talked about this for a long time that, carbon fiber, you want to lightweight a vehicle but keep it strong and maybe even celebrate it by seeing the fiber like we're seeing, that fiber look. People love that texture. It's great, but it's very hard to manufacture, takes a long time. There are some new methods, like they call it forging carbon fiber. It's like shredded stuff shredded pieces of carbon fiber, and they press it into a roof.
Right.
Toyota's done that, but
it's still very, very expensive to work with.
So we don't know if this new material is less expensive or if it weighs less or whatever. But if it was less expensive, think of this, and it's just as strong, think of this, fenders, doors, hoods could easily be made of this material. Technically, it's green. Perhaps it can be recycled if it's damaged.
Well, I don't know. I probably not because of the composite glues that they use.
Okay.
Epoxies, but boy, I mean, you can grow the flax. It's pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's an easy thing to grow, I think, for farmers.
I think it is, yeah.
And not fussy, not too
I
fussy.
mean, I just bought flax seed at the grocery store. And the seed, you buy it, it's packaged, it's like $1.50.
So what are you going to build out of it? Carbon fiber roof for your car?
I'm going to eat it.
You're going to build your body out of carbon fiber.
I'm going to, yeah.
Yeah. It's just, you think about this. There was a trend for a while, and I guess people still do it. Remember when I believe it was Ford was making a sound insulation out of old work uniforms.
That's right.
Grinding it up. They, of course,
That's
people
right.
make things out of old water bottles, and I think they made seat foam out of it.
Yep, carpet, floor carpet. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff. But the fact that it might become more affordable, lightweighting might become easier, is a good thing, I think. And this will cut about 40% of the production pollution, corporate emissions.
Yeah. Well, this will be interesting to watch.
Yeah. I think so too. Another interesting thing to watch is a display that the Peterson Museum in L.A. has on there, celebrating BMW, 50 years of BMW's 3 Series. And they have some incredible BMWs, including a 1978 BMW 320i Group 5, 1983 BMW 320i, a 1990 BMW M3, ADTM, and it goes on and on and on. They have a 2001 BMW M3 GTR Strafen version, meaning street version. And it goes on and on and on. This is a new display, 50 years of the 3 Series. Of course, many manufacturers, this is what they live for, a 3 Series fighter, as they call them.
Yes, this has been going on a long time.
Yeah, but another great Peterson Automotive Museum display. They always do things so well, and they are always so timely. And it is presented in partnership with BMW. The display traces the evolution of the iconic model through all 7 generations. Hard to believe, 7 generations of 3 Series, right?
Wow.
Always good to check out the Peterson Museum if you're in L.A.
It is, I think, the premier auto museum.
Yeah. You can even go down to the vault. Sometimes they have vault tours.
Yeah.
Which is, it looks like an underground parking garage, but it's not, a bunch of SUVs parked there. It's everything. And it's quite the eclectic collection. They have an EV1
wonderful
there.
stuff. Wonderful stuff.
Hot rods, all kind of stuff. And it's a neat
museum. George Barris stuff.
George Barris stuff. Everything. So
yeah,
something to check out. And if you're a BMW 3 Series fan or owner, I'm sure this will be a popular display for people to check out. So it's all good. All good. Hey, you have a very timely story that comes to us from Cars.com. And every year on Cruise Control, we look at the Cars.com American-Made Index. And it's typically a surprise for many people to find out what is the most American car, made American car. And we'll tell you about how they, kind of select this. But this year, Les, it's even more important with tariffs involved, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. I'm really glad they do this because there's always so much discussion in the public about, well, what's an American car and what isn't, and it's always a surprise, always, especially to people who don't follow the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. They'd say well, you just buy a Ford or a Chevy. That's it.
Yeah, but that may be made in Mexico. It may be made in Canada.
Well, for instance, we're going to get into these, the top 10, right? The top 10 most American-made vehicles, right? There is no Chevy. Right. There is no Ford in that top 10.
No, they are not in there. The number 10 is the Volkswagen ID4.
Right.
Who would have thought?
Now, it's built in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We know that.
Yep.
Number 9 is the
by
Honda.
Chattanoogans.
By Chattanooga. By Chattanooga. As the Germans say, Chattanooga. Yes.
Yes.
But, even, by the way, I said about the top 10, but even the top 20 has one Chevrolet in it. Top 20.
Yes.
Number 19, Chevrolet Colorado. That's almost an invisible model. You don't hear anything about that, right?
Exactly.
So that is the only Chevy.
Well, in fact,
20.
Yeah, there are only 3. Well, not counting Tesla, there are only 3 American brands in there: that Jeep and Chevrolet. And boy, that that 50 years ago, nobody would have believed that.
That's right. That's right. This is the 20th annual American-Made Index, or AMI. And what they do, they independently evaluate more than 400 vehicles from the 2025 model year to identify the 99 that contribute the most to the U.S. economy through manufacturing, parts sourcing, and employment.
Right.
So, top 10. You said ID4 from Volkswagen, built in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and that is
Right.
a strong finish for them. Honda Passport at number 9, and Honda
Yep.
Odyssey at number 8, and Honda Ridgeline at.
Yep.
They've been building vehicles for a long time in the U.S.
They sure have. And number 6, the Kia EV6, uh, which is, of course, a Kia,
Built in
Korean,
Georgia, I believe.
built in Georgia. Number 5, always built here, the Jeep Gladiator.
Yep.
And then 4, 3, 2, and 1 are Tesla models X, S, Y, and 3. Well, we know that.
Right.
They're all built, well, they're all, let's say, thrown together.
Parts placed in one place.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I mean, as much as we give them a hard time, it is great that they're based in the U.S.
It is here.
Certainly popular. I was just at a grocery store, and there was a whole bunch of them charging in the supercharger station. So they're certainly popular. By the way, you know, I've seen those stickers on the back of Teslas, like I bought this car before Elon went crazy.
Yes.
Well, somebody didn't get the memo because I saw that sticker on the back of a Subaru. Believe it or not. Like, okay.
Oh, well,
you know,
okay. Why did you do that?
Yeah, I didn't. Somehow I don't think the guy got what that meant. But okay, let's talk about this a little bit, because some of Tesla's models, oldest models, the S and the X, these things are pretty old. I think they're 8 years old, the design.
They're 8,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
They have been updated. So there are some updates. The frost blue paint color, which I believe is a $2,500 option, is a new availability. Up to 410 miles of range for the Model S.
Okay, that's significant.
Longest range Tesla yet. That's good. Quieter inside with less wind noise and road noise due to more effective active noise cancellation. That's a good update, right?
Well, it is. If you've ridden in those, they're pretty noisy inside.
Oh, really? That's weird for an electric vehicle, right? To be noisy.
Yep.
New wheel designs. Okay, that is your typical midlife update automotive industry thing to do. Well, put some new wheels on it. Improved aerodynamics, more range.
Okay.
Front fascia camera for better visibility. It's a good upgrade.
That's good.
Dynamic ambient lighting that brings unique animations along the dash and doors upon entry.
I think you could spend your money more wisely than doing that, but okay.
That's a big thing in the electric car world, to put the light shows on, you know. But okay,
Yeah.
it's neither here nor there. Even smoother ride thanks to new bushings and suspension design. And this the wheels actually stay on the vehicle, right?
Well, they do, but I would never say even smoother. If a Tesla is not a smooth running driving car.
Okay.
So I would say less uncomfortable.
I don't think that would pass the marketing department, but adaptive driving beams. This is something that's pretty standard.
So, yeah.
New exterior styling for Model S Plaid, optimized for high-speed stability, and more space for third-row occupants and cargo in the Model X.
Okay.
Okay, so that is better than, hey, we updated the logo, or, you know, this big screen now has rounded edges. But one of the updates they did, remember the Tesla yoke? The yoke was like, it almost looks like you're flying a Boeing airplane, right?
Nobody likes the yoke.
Nobody likes the yoke. They had a $700 steering wheel replacement that you could get, and it sold out like almost instantly. People immediately wanted to replace it, and also the upholstery would come off at about 4,000 miles on the
That's
yoke.
right.
Well, it looks like as part of this upgrade, the only time you can get a yoke is if you're going to go for the plaid model, and I believe the steering wheel is standard. You can still get it, but I don't think people really dug the yoke. I don't think that was a big thing. And if you recall, even Lexus was showing like models with potentially with a yoke. They thought it was going to be a trend. I think that's gone away, hasn't it?
There are some things that just do not get accepted by the buying public.
And NHTSA wasn't even sure it was legal, but because you make a turn, it's like, where do you put your hand? You can't shuffle steer.
Yeah,
You can't. There's nothing there.
that's right. And where are the steering wheel controls when I need them?
And someone said in this article, as an added bonus, it would also block the displays in front.
Yes.
So I'll keep with the steering wheel. Just think of this way: when they went to do the Nürburgring test in the Plaid, guess what kind of control was there? The regular steering wheel.
It's a steering wheel.
Said, "I'm not using this stupid thing." So I'm hoping that's a trend that just kind of disappears.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. You have a story about the Prius, though, right, Les? The Prius, get this, it's been in the U.S. for 25 years. Can you believe that?
That's just wonderful, frankly. But yes, the Prius has been here for 25 years. It has had 5 generations, right?
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
And that the original ones were a little bit clunky looking.
Yeah, the current one has gotten a lot of people's eye.
But much more kind of I don't want to use the word normal looking. It's much more stylish.
Much more stylish.
Now,
it
all
looks
along, all along, they've made a terrific drivetrain. You can't fault it.
Right. And there you have one of the best features of the new one. The phone goes in this little slot, so it doesn't fly around and it gets charged. But yeah, the new one, it really looks futuristic. When it initially came out, the first generation here, it looked like a tiny little Yaris almost. And now this one is quite aerodynamic. It looks futuristic. It gets 50 miles to the gallon. 57, by the way, rating of up to 57.
Yeah, isn't that just terrific?
Yeah, and it is a usable car. It is a usable car. And we'll have an at-the-wheel review of the current one coming up in a couple of weeks. But it really, what's interesting to me is now that hybrids are standard in many cars, Camry, only hybrid, RAV4, only going to be hybrid, and hybrid models are available across the board, they still keep a hybrid-only model, that was kind of brought out to kind of introduce the world to hybrid technology, right? When you think about it. And
that's right.
You thought, we need something that looks different, right?
Yeah, and now it really is kind of also we still make the Prius, but in fact now that their lineup is hybrid, and many other people's lineups are hybrid, or at least offer. It is most certainly a standard drivetrain that most people can buy.
Right. You don't need to really have a vehicle that says, "Oh, look, I'm driving a hybrid," because it's a different vehicle. But they still keep it in the lineup, and it certainly is the mileage leader for sure. And of course, there's a plug-in hybrid version as well. And then new for this year is the Nightshade edition. Of course, the one we're showing looks sort of like a taxi cab. I wouldn't
Well,
get that
yeah,
yellow. But nightshade,
that's
I guess that is the Karashi color because you can get Karashi, Windchill Pearl, and Midnight Black Metallic. I don't think it's Windchill Pearl, and I don't think that's Midnight Black Metallic. I think that is,
yeah, that's quite a yellow.
yeah, yeah. Um, there are a number of grades of this, and as you said, you are absolutely correct. The fifth generation of this, and the Nightshade kind of brings in black wheels and some other black trim, and makes it look a little bit more sinister. But that is now available for this year. But um, I like it. I drove it. A couple of things missing on it, which I'll go through when we do the full review. It doesn't have dual zone climate control. I don't know why they don't put that in there. Um, and it's a little bit of an acquired taste with that windshield coming back. It has a lot of solar gain on a hot day. I was in a very hot day.
Yeah. Also, they are they're comfortable for sure, but they're not they're not very soft riding.
No, they are a firmer
Uh,
car. They are a firmer car. But that aside, they do have great.
oh, they're fine
It's a
cars.
fine car to drive, and it is a amazing vehicle to get that kind of mileage too. And you can
And the
get things
batteries, batteries
last.
last 12, 13, 14 years.
Yeah, exactly. They do. And on the XSE Premium this year, you can get a 185-watt solar roof capable of charging the drive battery with power from the sun while parked. Now, that's great. You're not going to charge your battery up from zero, but if you're sitting at the airport for a week on the
Yeah,
top of a parking
yeah,
garage, you certainly will charge it up somewhat, won't you?
yeah. Or at least it'll run your systems, your basic systems in the car.
Yeah, yeah. So there you have it. Well, let's move over to Nissan and talk about their brand new Leaf. As you were saying earlier, uh, Nissan needs new product, and they're getting it in the form of the Leaf because let's face it, they're struggling a bit. The new Leaf is a fresh sheet, all brand new. I believe it's over 300 miles of range, although that may not have been officially set here yet. But it's a good-looking vehicle. Kind of follows the looks of the Murano a bit. So we're
A little
seeing that
bit.
that V grill and all the other features. Um, it is a number of firsts for this vehicle, including liquid-cooled lithium-ion batteries up to a 75 kilowatt per hour usable capacity. Available dual 14.3-inch displays. Available Google built-in, including Google Maps, meaning you don't have to connect your phone if you don't want to. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, flush door handles, available 19-inch wheels, available 64-color ambient interior lighting. It's a big thing, Les, on electric cars.
It's a lot of goodies.
A lot of goodies. 3D intelligent around view monitor, invisible hood. We talked a little bit about this invisible hood not that long ago, where you can basically see through the hood. You're looking at a camera, basically a camera output of that, and that is kind of a neat feature. And available Bose Personal Plus Premium Audio, which I would imagine means you can get the speakers right in your head restraint,
That's
which is very
exactly,
nice.
yeah. And you can, you know, run your playlist on it.
Yeah, it is. I think they made a big step up. The current Leaf before this was revealed was really aged, and it had been surpassed by just about everything. So they did need to do a clean sheet. I think it's a cool looking vehicle. No no pricing information on this.
No, but I'm glad they brought it out because they need something at the dealerships to bring people in. We want to see them continue in this market.
Oh yeah, interesting. Tail lights. They are two,
Yeah,
three, and if you in the Japanese language, if you say 2, 3, it's Nissan. That's the
they
number,
look
Nissan. So they're actually calling out Nissan. It actually says in the back Nissan 3 times because the taillights are 2, 3,
interesting, but
and then
that
it says Nissan once
basic
in.
basic look is almost like an old Firebird,
That's interesting.
which is it just reminds me of the old Firebirds.
Interesting. Interesting to point out. That's the V Motion grill, as they call it. This will be assembled alongside the area at Nissan's Tochigi plant in Japan. And does that mean for tariffs? Probably a lot, which could be hard for a
Probably a
small
lot.
electric
Yeah.
car. Everyone's trying to get that 30 and under $1,000 car. I don't think they're going to be able to achieve that with this. Do you? If they're going to have to pay tariffs?
That's right. And but I think I like the interior of this
Yes.
thing. It looks it doesn't look Spartan. It doesn't look it looks very modern, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
it looks comfortable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like a conventional, road cruiser.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But it's neat looking.
and there it is, the 2, 3, which says Nissan if you read it from the inside out. Nice wheel design too, I have to say, unique.
Those are those look like serious wheels. Yeah.
Yeah. Big display. I don't like it when vehicles when they take an electric vehicle and basically the whole thing is a screen like Tesla. I just don't like that.
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
really don't like those. Never liked them.
Yeah, it seems
Even
too
on some
simplistic.
trucks, I
Yeah,
haven't liked them. It's too big.
yeah, yeah. So, well, what do you think? I think it could be if Nissan can hang on, it could be a very cool vehicle for them. I just don't know about the pricing. It will be critical. I see the interior looks pretty cool. It looks like it's blue and white. Um, they do have the speakers in the head restraints, which is great. A Bose system. A slick little electric car, 300 miles of range. I look forward to driving it. And of course, it's got the pop out door handles. You got to have ambient lighting tricks and pop out door
That's right.
handles
You
on
got
an
it. You
electric
gotta.
car. Gotta have them.
Yeah.
Just like you had to
Uh,
have cup holders on a minivan. You have to have them.
you gotta have that stuff.
Let's see how it does for Nissan. We'll keep you up to date. Now, here's a vehicle I think will do well. Ionic 6, of course, great vehicle. Their large electric vehicle from the folks at Hyundai. Of course, they have a great version of the Ionic 5, the Ionic 5N, and some of the other N vehicles in their lineup. Now they are teasing an Ionic 6N. It looks like it's got a big wing on the back. This is going to be fun. This is really going to be fun. And we don't know much about it other than it will be revealed at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. And I bet it's going to take a trip up the course, don't you?
I dare say that'd be fun to do.
Yeah. I love the Ionic 6. It's a great vehicle. It's a wonderful electric vehicle. You know what I think of Hyundai and Kia when it comes to electric vehicles. I think they could certainly rule the roost with these things. But
Yeah, it's kind of the ideal electric vehicle for the first time
yeah.
buyer. It's affordable. It drives beautifully.
Now I don't know if the N version will be affordable, but
Well, I don't know about that,
yeah,
but
By the way, Ionic 5 is one of the best driving electric cars, the smaller version
Yep.
of this that I've had, and looks futuristic, great visibility. It looks like a sort of like you took a Golf and you made it bigger in every dimension.
Yeah, yeah.
It
It's
looks like a
they,
big Golf.
they've done a nice job.
They certainly have. So we will keep you up to date on this one on cruise control for the Ionic 6N. So that is upcoming and certainly something that you want to stand by for. You're Ionic 5 fan as well. You drove one and you liked it, right?
Very much, yeah.
So we will talk about those. Let's talk a little tech here, and it comes from the folks at Volvo, and they are recreating the sound properties of Abbey Road, where so many Beatle records were recorded, and many other records in general. They were recreating that experience, the acoustic experience, in the EX90. They call it the Abbey Road Studios mode, which is interesting.
And this is interesting. So they're trying to, in the car, recreate the characteristic sound of the studios in Abbey Road.
Mm-hmm.
They have a bunch of studios there.
Sonic signature, as they call it.
And where people like the Beatles and the James Taylor.
James Taylor recorded there? Okay.
Elton John, right?
I'm not sure. I'm going on what you say.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But
yeah.
But that's kind of cool, having a studio effect in the car.
Right.
Then now, by the way, Fred, did you do a double take when you saw the power of this sound system?
Well, why don't you share that with us?
Well, I'll just set this up like in the old days in your Mustangs and Camaros and Galaxies and Impalas. The sound system was 10 watts.
Yeah.
And you could crank up the speakers.
You could have a speaker in the back seat. It was a big
right.
deal.
And then, by the 80s and 90s, they started putting like 100-watt sound systems to belt out stuff. The Volvo folks and the Bowers and Wilkins audio folks have packed 1,610 watts in this thing. So basically, if I left the windows open in one of those and cranked it all the way, I think you could hear it in Baltimore.
It's enough power to just park your car in front of the audience at an ACD concert.
Yeah.
AC/DC concert and crank it up, and they could use it as an amplifier, right?
That's a phenomenal amount of power in a car.
How about you? I find that distracting when music's too loud in a car. Like,
very much.
But I mean, doesn't mean I'm old. That might be old anyway.
But we sit in traffic, and then a car with a booming sound system gets next to us, and it's shaking that car and the cars around it.
Up, and you can hear it loud in your car with your windows closed, and it's 4 cars ahead of you.
And as an expert on hearing damage, I can tell you that is destroying that person's ears.
Oh, absolutely. You ever hear people with their, there's some people around here, they use the Bluetooth in their car. It's so loud. I can hear it's like I'm on the phone call. It's like, how loud do you need it in the car,
It's phenomenal. And well, there it is, 1,600.
I will say this, though. The way to determine if you have a really good sound system in your car is not how loud it is. It's how good it sounds when it's at low level.
How clear how
And
clear all of the frequencies are at low level.
bass,
Yeah.
good bass at low levels. You don't. It to me that's what says great. I don't have to blow my hair straight back from it. But here's an interesting little bit about from BMW. You know, they have this vehicle called the XM, right? The XM. It is not one of their better selling vehicles.
No.
It's not selling well in the U.S. Matter of fact, the base XM model has been discontinued. But in an interesting twist of fate, BMW has not discontinued the XM. They've made a higher end version called the XM Label.
Okay.
It is the most powerful road vehicle produced by BMW M. New paint, it gets new paint, interior, and wheel options. AC charge rate increased to 11 kilowatts, and it had its world premiere at Le Mans last Saturday. It has a total system output of 738 horsepower.
Okay, that's significant.
So it has a V8 with a peak output of 577, hence the quad exhaust, stack exhaust, which I like, quad stack exhaust. I think it looks cool. 8-speed M Steptronic transmission. And then the motors delivered 194 horsepower, so the total output is 738 and combined torque of 738. 738 and 738 when it comes to it. It has the optional M drivers package, which increases the top speed to 175 miles an hour. And it is the most powerful road-going BMW of all time.
Okay.
So, as it says here, I'll say it in the press release. So that just goes to demonstrate that BMW M stands for the ultimate driving machine.
Now,
it was not
this
a big
thing
seller. It was not a
has
big
not,
seller.
no, hasn't been a big seller. I'm sure it's expensive. It also weighs 6,100 pounds.
Beefy.
So you need a lot of engine for that.
That needs some of that Flax stuff we talked about to get the weight down.
Well, you could use it, but it does 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds.
Yeah. By the way, production of this BMW will begin at the Spartanburg plant in South Carolina in August. Pricing set to be announced closer to production. Wow. You know, it's interesting they doubled down on it though. If it wasn't selling.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm sure it's a very, very good vehicle.
It's just not.
But it's just not selling here.
It's just not popular. It's just not popular. So.
But they still make them here in Spartanburg and ship them to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, you know, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Cruise Control. We covered a lot of stuff for sure, Les.
We did.
Everything from Corvette HyperCars to the most American cars made as far as the Cars.com index. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to check us out on all our social media outlets. And it's time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
And I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you